You're watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ghostfire Media. I'm your broadcaster, Adam Wood, and beside me I have Josh Laston. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be getting back to ovals tonight, getting to watch these guys just turn left in some high-speed action.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Autoclub provides a lot of high-speed action, and with the new track dynamics upgrades that came up earlier this year, it can provide 3 to 4 wide action here. This track is a very wide and high-speed variant of this 2-mile track. I can't wait to see what these guys are able to do.
I'm right there with you. It's good to get back to this. Not that Road Atlanta wasn't a great race, because it's a great track and we did get to see a lot of side-by-side action, but this is going to be so much more, just given the nature of this relatively large track.
Yeah, I mean, that's back to normal one. Yeah, this track is pretty large. It's about 2 miles of length. The temperature outside is about 83 degrees. Pretty great day. The track, I mean, that's the track temperature. The outside temperature is 76. And it's going to be a great day of racing. The track's going to have some grip to it. It's not too hot. And we're hoping for multiple grooves. We're hoping for some people to flirt, do the good old Kyle Larson line and run the wall.
And the good thing is with iRacing, especially in the Xfinity cars, they do enable you to run the wall a little more safely than some of the other vehicles like the Gander trucks, the Arcas. It has that aero pad in there, and it definitely makes it a little bit easier to run.
You're still flirting with disaster, though. I mean, depends on how high you run and how close to the wall. You're still, aiming to be flirting with disaster.
Well, there's no way around that one, because especially at the speeds that we're seeing these guys topping out close to 192 miles an hour. There's no way around the safer barriers reaching out to tap you.
Oh no, these guys have to, pedal that throttle pretty hard, and ensure they stay off of it. But that's where the high speed can be. I think later in the runs we'll be able to see more people going up high, but for the first probably 10-15 laps or so, the speed's going to be at the bottom.
And we're seeing some of these guys, as we now have side-by-side action up on screen. We're seeing them as they come across the stripe, going down onto that paint, because that is a drivable surface on this track. And for those guys looking to cut hundredths of a second off of their qualifying time, it's the best option.
Yeah, you have to do whatever you can to cut it off. Like you said, a hundredth of a second here means everything. I know before I joined the world of iRacing and just watching NASCAR at home, I was wondering how can people be so competitive. You know, it's a 2-mile track, but the time comes down to hundreds or maybe even thousandths of a second during qualifying.
Well, and unfortunately, with these oval tracks, that's just the way it ends up working. Is you don't even see that in most Formula One races, to where qualifying times are that close, and shaving that 10 feet off of this lap can make all the difference.
Yeah, these guys are gonna have to work hard to hit that qualifying lap. Right now, the times are pretty about a couple of hundredths off between the first and second place right now, with a 41.66 of Randy Bechtel, and Cameron Hearn ran a 41.68, and then Boomer Logan ran a 41.71. We're on board right now with Michael Stroll, who is starting his first lap, and then we also have Justin Morton, who's coming to the line right now. He's running that high line, trying to get the most out of his car, get the most speed coming off of turn 4, and then dives it down. It's like Michael Stroll's giving up on this lap. He's going to try to start it all over.
He's got plenty of time. They have 10 minutes worth of qualifying, so if you aren't feeling it after that first lap, you have the opportunity to reset. As in the lower right-hand corner, we're seeing Justin Morton. The one thing that I will say about Auto Club, and especially in these cars, the rear end does like to get a little bit loose on corner exit, because you're holding so much speed coming out that it just wants to slide around on you. And Justin Morton actually gets himself into 4th with that lap.
And he's within thousandths of a second right there between 3rd and 4th. Boomer Logan and Justin Morton came home with a 41.71. So they're both within the thousandths of a second here on this lap.
And again, looking at the track and the conditions, it's only going to get closer as the night progresses.
Yeah, look at the rear end come around on Justin Morton right there. He's trying all she had, gives up, goes to the grass.
I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Thomas Baresi, who has been on a bit of a tear lately and looking to make up some points after not quite being able to get it done last week at Road Atlanta. But 3rd is respectable.
Eric Wineland's out there, you know, swerving back and forth down the back straightaway.
I absolutely love how the guys in this fuel league, so many people, myself included, just look to get the qualifying out of the way, jump out the second that it starts. Some of these guys wait to see what kind of times are thrown down before going out.
They're hoping maybe the temperature drops on the track by, like, you know, a fraction of the degree or something. Maybe that's what they're doing as well. So we're seeing Eric Wineland. He looks like the second lap is going to be his qualifying lap. He looks like he wanted to build up some heat in the tires, want to get up to full speed when he sends it through 3 and 4 here before he actually puts down his qualifying lap for his lap 2. Kind of treating it like a super speedway.
That's actually a really good plan at a track like this, because it's so big. Those extra 100 yards worth of acceleration by running that top line, plus you don't have to slow down as much. It's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're treating it kind of like a super speedway. A super speedway, normally you're not fully up to speed, and you want to have all that speed coming out of turn 4, running that high line, and then carrying it to the start-finish line for your actual qual lap. So it's kind of how Eric Wineland's done it. Let's see if it actually works out for him.
And he's only really going to be able to finish this one lap, so
gives him 15th.
He did have the top speed in qualifying, but he didn't leave himself enough time to complete a second lap. And that's going to be unfortunate because it did look like he may have been able to challenge, but where he ends up, as we are at dusk on this track, it's only going to get cooler throughout the night.
Oh, did not. Alrighty, so we're coming here. Qualifying is over. We have Alan Elwood stealing away another one of the Elwood Designs Fuel Pole Award for tonight. Randy Bechtel's going to come home second in qualifying. Cameron Hearn's going to be in third. Thomas Bressy's fourth. Boomer Logan fifth. Justin Morton sixth. Seventh is Kyle Brooks. Eighth is Michael Stroll. Ninth is Tyler Hensley. 10th is Chad Simpson.
And in 11th is Chad Mikas. 12th is Hayden Pistorius. 13th, Casey Shue. 14th is Joe Dinsmore. 15th is Eric Wineland. 16th, Danny Ware. Zach Edwards is in 17th. John Griven, 18th. Tyler Dolger, 19th. And Brandon Bernhardt in 20th.
Alrighty. In 21st, we have Don Runkle Jr. 22nd is Blake Gordon. 23rd is Sean Carmody. 24th is Kyle Cooper. 25th is Travis McQuistion. 26th is Chris Matthews. And rounding out the field will be Calvin Filarski.
All right, as we're starting to pull off out of pit road, this is one of the tracks that it's only 1 to green. So I'm looking forward to getting this race started nice and quickly because we've waited long enough. Time to go fast.
Yeah, I really want to see what these long runs are going to be. This track is notorious for eating up tires, and you want to be able to save your tires for that long run speed. And let's see who's going to run that middle to high line instead of diving down to the bottom white line and both sides of the track, trying to gain that extra 10th. Will it hurt them in the long run?
Well, my guess is we're going to see, obviously the outside line is going to go ahead and do that just to start. But the question will be, do they drop down, go single file the second that there's an opening? Which I honestly believe we're the second race into the playoffs. We aren't really going to have the desperation that we're going to start to see come next week when we hit Atlanta, but it's still, we're going to see a lot of good, hard racing.
All right, the green flag is out. Flagman waves it. They are off. Field crosses the start-finish line. We already see Thomas Bressie dropping his nose down. He's going to go down low in turn 1. Alan Elwood's going to run the middle and then drop down low, going through the first corner, going through the second. We still have them side by side.
As Thomas Bressie, I don't know if he's hung down on that low line, but he's giving no space right now to Randy Bechtel as he does inch forward, and that's going to give him the opportunity to slide up as they go single file onto the front stretch.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a game of cat and mouse here. Who's going to run the middle line? And as that person kind of floats towards the middle line on corner entry, I think the person behind them has the option. Should I dive it down low, or should I still ride the middle line and just, carry the draft on the outside?
Well, as we're starting to see Cameron Hearn do exactly that, get himself a good run here, and Thomas Baressi's probably going to be able to follow him and take over second as we make our way across the line for the second time.
And Thomas Bressie running the middle line right there. He's going to have a great launch coming compared to Alan Elwood. But Alan Elwood's going to have somebody behind him pushing him here. He could get by him with the extra draft here going into turn 1.
And it looks like we're starting to see everybody kind of only coming down to that first seam which is going to save some tires. But the question will be, how aggressive and how early are they going to be doing that?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see who's gonna conserve the tires. There's quite a few people right now running that white line. Number 39 of Randy Bechtel continues to drop all the way down. So we're gonna have to see exactly who's gonna run that high line or start to migrate here. Figuring they aren't really moving too much more running the lower lines. They're just killing their tires.
Well, as I'm going to hop on board here for a few moments on the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera of Michael Stroll, who has a front row seat to that side-by-side action in the top 5, and really doing everything he can to just hold on, let them kill their tires. Actually, it's probably better to go on the nose on that smaller window there, but we're starting to see even towards the back a lot of people going side by side as the field is not necessarily separating, with the exception of our leader, Cameron Hearn.
Yeah, Cameron Hearn is able to pull away, and that's kind of shocking. This is a draft-heavy, momentum-based track, and he is trying to get out there and extend his lead so nobody can really catch his draft. And he's almost up to a second ahead of the rest of the pack here.
I mean, there's no denying that that group behind him is getting a little aggressive, have had to make some moves that just him out in clean air, gives him the opportunity to pull away. But you would think that, especially on the backstretch, these guys would be able to start making some great moves, getting a little bit closer, but he's just pulling away.
And you see Alan Elwood up there. He is trying to find a spot. He was trying to put his nose in front of Justin Morton there. There's just no room. A little bit of side drafting action as well, making sure Thomas Bresci doesn't pull away from him, since he was not in the preferred line and nobody's really behind him to give him that drafting down the back straightaway.
And we'll take advantage of, in the lower right-hand corner, this being digital on the rear chase, where we can see some of these guys coming up behind. And it looks like Justin Morton's thinking about taking it 3 wide during the corner.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these two views here. You're able to see the front and see the rear of how everything's going down right now. And it's a really great battle right between Alan Elwood. You can kind of see the closeness and the distance that these guys are running through this corner. It's very remarkable, and I'm hoping the netcode gods kind of shy away for tonight.
Well, and there's no denying that the netcode gods love to rear their head at the absolute worst times imaginable. But there's no denying that they are ever present and just waiting to punish someone.
Yeah, I mean, this whole entire pack is just one long string of cars here. As you can look at the track map, nobody's really gotten away except for Cameron Hearn. Cameron Hearn's the only person right now that was able to escape. He's up to a 1.2 second lead over the pack. You can barely see him right there. And, we got 4 or 5 car battle here. The lower right-hand corner, we got another battle. We got Blake Gordon, Hayden Stores.
Battle for 13th, and quite a hornet's nest going on right here. Taking advantage of those guys towards the front, getting a little extra racy, and trying to get themselves up there, but definitely the battle for second is heating up hard.
Yeah, Alan Elwood's trying to pull away from Thomas Bresci, but he can't. Justin Mortensen there, he's hoping somebody would kind of draft with him there. He pulls out a line there, trying to get a little push from Michael Stroll behind him to get some momentum going down on turn 1.
And I think that the best chance that they have of catching Cameron Hearn is to get themselves in a line, formed up, follow, and try to use that arrow train to get themselves up there.
And Michael Stroll now is coming up in the picture here. He is diving underneath Thomas Bresci, trying to get the momentum here, but there's nobody behind him going down the front straightaway unless Thomas drops down. He does. Thomas is going to help Michael Stroll kind of draft past Justin Morton at number 11 up top.
And that's one of those things that they're real racy, and we're only 11 laps deep. I would say that it's a little too early for that in my mind, just because it doesn't look like we're going to get any yellows, which hopefully that's not a commentator's curse right there.
Hey, don't worry. Last night I was thinking at it inside my head. We were at like 45 laps. I'm like, man, we have not had a caution, but I'm not going to say it over the team chat. I'm just going to keep this to myself. Let's keep this green for the rest of the race.
Well, I'm back here as Danny Ware is under some serious pressure from Guile Brooks, to the point to where if we go on his gearbox, all you see is that Mustang of the number 71, and he's not going to drop away very quickly.
And the leaders have caught, or not caught, but they've dropped the times. He had almost a 1.5 second lead. He's down to 0.6 of the lead right now. So I think they, at least the front two have kind of settled down just a little bit, and they're looking like they're drafting back towards the leader.
And it could just be that Cameron Hearn has taken and burned up his tires, hoping to get that wonderful gap, and no one else really did, so he may have ruined his equipment going into this rather than saving it.
I mean, I've been looking at Thomas Bresci. He runs 1 and 2 about the middle line, right on the seam on the second groove, and on the 3 and 4 he drops down to the bottom. I want to see who's going to start kind of pulling up a little bit further and trying to use the corner speed, use the extra banking on the track to save some tires.
Well, and the other thing we have to keep in mind is, yeah, they may be running the same line, but someone up front, Cameron Hearn specifically, may have been scrubbing off a little bit of speed.
Yeah, they've caught him.
Trying to hold that line. But catching him is one thing. Passing him is going to be a completely separate story.
I mean, it looks like Alan Elwood still has good enough tires to hook the bottom, whereas Cameron Hearn on that last corner, he was only able to get down almost a half a car length to the bottom, and his car kind of pushed up. So,
and right now we're actually starting to see another pack forming right behind Tyler Hensley in 9th, and Eric Wineland is under some serious pressure from Danny Ware, Guile Brooks, and Blake Gordon.
We have a battle for the lead, though. Alan Elwood is dropped below Cameron Hearn and has cleared him coming out of turn 3. I think he did clear him. He did not want to do the slide job. I wouldn't call it a slide job, but he would have cut off his momentum going down the front straightaway. So he stayed down low, let Cameron Hearn have the run, but he's going to enter down, and I believe he should clear him coming off of turn 2 here.
As Thomas Bresci was giving him a great push, hoping to keep him up there, but he actually ends up abandoning that to kill the run of Michael Stroll and gets his nose right down on Alan Elwood, hoping that they can just leave him out to dry on that top line, with all of them probably having better equipment right now.
Yeah, I was wondering if Alan's going to stay up top to give Cameron Hearn a little draft right there, but he dropped down to block the run of Thomas Bresci a little bit. So, I mean, he also helped him get a draft. He blocked his run, but also gave him a draft. So I mean, it's a double, twofold event right there.
And that's playing the role of teammates. But they aren't teammates. He's actually seemingly holding up his teammate in Justin Morton.
I mean,
And Cameron Hearn. No, Cameron... I can never remember who's on teams here.
they have such large teams, but there's quite a few large teams here within the Fuel Racing League.
Yeah, and right now it's actually Alan Elwood and Cameron Hearn are on the same team, and it's not really seeming that way at this point.
I mean, once Cameron Hearn kind of started falling back, I mean, his tires are kind of toast, so to speak. And, you know, he could only help him for that quarter of a lap, but then Cameron Hearn, I mean, he's going to continue to fall here. He's not going to be able to keep up the corner speeds like everybody else. And everybody else is knowing that. And Cameron Hearn's just got to run that low line and try to take away the faster way around from his competitors.
Well, and going from the lead currently into fourth, and he is under pressure from Justin Morton, who's right on his bumper, and I would almost say that Cameron Hearn is holding him up ever so slightly at this point.
I mean, Justin Morton's going to have to run the outside line. He's going to have to use the momentum to get around him. He's trying to do it right now.
And we're starting to see the 2x2s forming up again because of this. But no one's really taken that opportunity. To go too far, as it seems like at the front of the pack, they're just comfortable running in line right now with these front three, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they can start a breakaway.
I mean, at the same time, you're running behind the leader. You're trying to save your tires. You're in the draft a little bit. You can kind of throttle back your entry more than the leader is because you got the extra speed on the draft. And save a little bit of fuel, maybe go an extra lap that the leader can't. You know, save your tires on corner entry. I mean, there's a lot of different games to be played here. Cool down your front right tire for about 5-10 laps, and then I go on the attack.
We unfortunately did not do our homework and figure out what a fuel run looks like. But my guess is these guys are going to run it dry. Because I hate saying it, Auto Club happens to be one of those tracks that I almost feel like a caution is inevitable. But these guys are doing a great job right now, keeping it clean, keeping it fast, but still being very racy.
I mean, they are trying to pick and choose their battles here. As we see Michael Stroll kind of dropping down before everybody else. He's hugging that white line, clipped the apron a little bit. That's going to slow him down and kind of drifted his car up a little bit. And we got Thomas Grossi looking low.
I was going to say, we are starting to see a little bit of extra racing up towards the front, and he gets the job done. And that is probably the advantage that you were just talking about. Not really having to push it, could keep up just by virtue of the draft, and ultimately gets himself up into the lead of this race.
Yeah, saving your tires is instrumental here. And like I said, you just can ride right behind them for quite a few laps and, you know, save your right front tire. Don't burn it up on entry, and then you'll have a little bit of extra grip to really attack the guy in front of you.
And at the same time, we're actually starting to see a few different packs opening up to where on our timing and scoring, really kind of seeing 3 separate packs separated by about a second, maybe 4 right now, as it looks like Danny Ware is starting to fall off the pace, but come under fire from Kyle Brooks. who's dropping down low and trying to get himself up to the front of this little breakaway pack, and we're starting to see a lot of crossovers.
Yeah, did you see that move by Danny Ware in the 19 in the bottom right?
That was
nuts.
Beautiful.
I mean, he came off the corner and just dropped it low right in front of Blake Gordon.
Well, and Blake Gordon's trying to take advantage of as much of this as he can to keep moving himself forward, because Blake is one of the playoff drivers and needs to start scoring some points. Though he is noticeably one of those people that does not tend to like these kinds of tracks. He loves the short tracks. He loves the road courses. He's good, but definitely not going to be one of the favorites on a track like this.
Yeah, he tends to like the little bit, I say more challenging ovals, the ones with a little bit more
technical.
Yeah, technical,
Technical
more
is the best way.
This is more about endurance of tires.
And we have our first two takers on pit lane.
Eric Wineland and Chad McKiss. He's out. Those two are out there on pit road, and Chad goes sideways.
Yes, he does. We'll not go ahead and highlight that one, but we'll head back to the racing as Blake Gordon gets a pass done, and Thomas Baresi is under pressure once again from Alan Elwood, and he is trying to make this work.
Pretty wide here. Michael Stroll
Why
looking
not?
for a spot here.
Why not? It's wide enough. It's fast enough.
Throw a fourth, maybe fifth car in there. We'll go 4 to 5 wide. These guys have
there's
the
enough
talent to do
room.
this.
There's enough room. Just make it happen.
As we see Eric Wineland blending off of pit road here, coming through turns 1 and 2. He is pushing it, trying to get all the speed he can to come off pit road.
We said it at the top of the broadcast. This is one of those tracks that you need to have that speed and need to get up to speed as quickly as possible. And we're starting to see a few more people make their way in. As Cameron Hearn made his way back out onto the track, Sean Carmody has made his way back out. So we're going to definitely start seeing an awful lot more, because we are over a third of the way, and splitting this up is probably going to be the best path forward.
I mean, do you run it dry to see, just in case somebody has a mistake coming on pit road or coming off, to hope for a caution, or do you and have fresher tires at the end of the next run? Like what would be your strategy?
My personal strategy, it's dependent on where I am, but if I'm anywhere back from 6th on, I'm undercutting. I'm going to split this race into thirds, like we did see our first two takers with Eric Wineland and Chad McKiss. That's what I'm doing, because we've seen our leaders, they're nearly 2 seconds off of their fastest lap right now. So those 2-3 laps can make a huge difference. Yes, you're going to be slower in the long run, but
Look at Eric Wineland go down there. Those fresh tires.
just not even questioning. It's the right path forward.
So you see Eric Wineland was a lot deeper in the field, and he hasn't gotten by the leaders yet. Whereas Cameron Hearn was running, I believe around 4th, 5th-ish when he came in, and when he blended back out, he basically cleared the leaders on pit exit. So he never went a lap down. So that tells me if you're still in the Chad Simpson, Tyler Hensley area, like if you pit right now, you should be able to blend out right in front of the leaders or right with the leaders and easily get your laps back, as we see Eric Wineland, who's about 3 laps deep now on his tires, easily able to clear these guys.
And I think you said it, that Chad Simpson running in fourth. Got to see firsthand Eric Wineland just power through. I'm coming in knowing that these guys up at the front, they are staying out. I'm going to be the one to come in because you need that advantage.
I mean, you have to try something different. Leaders up there, if you're following them into pit road and you're running 5th, 6th, 7th, you're just going to follow them 5th, 6th, 7th coming out of pit road.
Yeah, there's nothing to be gained. At least if you have one lap, that's 2 seconds you get to make up on them. And only about, I would say, for the first 5 or so laps, you're only going to be losing about a 10th to them. After that point, yeah, there's going to be some drop-off, but there's also going to be a leveling after
Well, I mean, you have to also
another
think
10 laps.
You also have to think about it. By the time that happens, I mean, by the time, the way we're looking right now, by the time Cameron Hearn has to pit next time, that's when the really drop off that he's going to be, getting passed by the leaders, but then he's going to be coming right back in the pit like 5-10 laps later. So, I mean, these guys are staying out another, so far, how long? Yeah, Cameron Hearn pitted on lap 26. They're on 33. So, I mean, they're going to be almost 10 laps fresher in the tires. But in about 10 laps, Cameron Hearn's coming back in to grab another set of tires.
Correct. So there's a chance that these guys are going to be able to stretch this first stint, maybe do a little bit of saving, and be able to knock on the door of a one-stop strategy. But I don't know if it's worth it.
I mean, only thing that the leaders can hope for is running the tank dry. And then when the next caution, if there is a caution that comes out, how many people are on the lead lap at that point? If the caution comes out before they pit here, or on the next stint, they stay out the longest point of that one, or cut that next run in half,
Well, and we only have 3 people currently off the lead lap, and they've all pit. But they were far enough back that they didn't have the kind of opportunity that Cameron Hearn did. The only thing I do worry about is there going to be enough time if they are able to do this on one stop. I don't think there's enough laps to make up for 2 stops.
It's going to be hit or miss. I mean, how much are they losing out compared to, let's see, they spent 49 seconds on pit road. So you're eliminating basically 50 seconds off of this. Are they going to be able to gain 50 seconds plus on the track for these guys staying out?
Right now, Cameron Hearn is about a 1.5 seconds faster, despite the fact that he is on 9-lap-old tires. But it does seem as if Thomas Baresi's tires up in the lead have kind of reached their plateau to where he's been running 43.6s roughly for the past 8 laps. So there obviously is a certain point to where they don't get that much slower over time.
Yeah, so I mean, you get to a kind of a plateau-ish, and then when these guys get back out, they're going to be running faster times than what, like Cameron Hearn and Eric Wineland, all the ones that have pitted so far. They're going to be running way faster laps to kind of absorb some of that time that they lost already. And then by the time that comes around, then the pit cycle will reverse. Eric Wineland, Cameron Hearn, and them, they'll be able to come in. So, they'll lose some time here, they'll gain some time back, and then they'll lose some more time. But will that equal 50 seconds in the course of this race? That's the key here.
And I'm actually going to take a quick look here and follow Cameron Hearn, who is in clean air as I'm hearing over the radio, we're starting to see a few more guys drop into the pits. Guy L. Brooks, Travis McQuistion, Hayden Pistorius are all in the pits now. So I'm assuming we aren't really going to have too close to a one-stop race.
Yeah, if they're at 38 laps, I mean, depending on how much further these guys can go, if they can pull off one, maybe two more laps, these guys will definitely be able to shortcut this race and only make it a one-stop race, and then have to push it to the end. Whereas the other guys, Cameron Hearn, Eric Wineland, the other ones that pitted early, they're just going to have to be trying to find the best qual lap every single lap. They can't worry about lap traffic. They need to cut through the traffic to gain the most amount of time to make this two-stop race, a thing.
Well, as I'm following Cameron Hearn, who right now, granted, he's not seen some of these guys who just pitted, he is running faster laps than everyone else out on track. And that's to his benefit as we see another wave of guys diving into the pits. Chad Simpson, Danny Ware, Joe Dinsmore, John Griven, and Blake Gordon have all made their stops at this point. And so we're looking at the top 10 right now, still have yet to pit.
Yeah, Calvin Filarski's in 11th right now. He's the first one, or the last one, that has not pitted. So the top 11 are still out on old tires. They're trying to push it as much as possible. But at this point, we're well past the halfway mark. I mean, the only thing I can think of is they're hoping the people that haven't stayed out. We got Michael Stroll in third to go in. I think Alan Elwood just scraped the wall a little bit coming off of turn 4. But I think these guys are just hoping there's a caution that will come out and lap these guys down.
And it's a distinct possibility. And I'm curious, as I'm still focused on Cameron Hearn, who, as we start to see all these pit cycles, he's making his way back up towards the front. He is not necessarily the fastest out on track. There are a few guys that have pitted in the last 4 or 5 laps that are faster than him. But all of these guys that have the fresher tires, they're going to be able to tear through their tires.
So right now we got the leader, Thomas Bressey, comes out. Alan Elwood stayed. Justin Morton came in.
This is, I mean, it's going to be interesting. There's no way around that one.
I think Alan Elwood's the sitting duck here. He stayed out an extra lap, and they're going to get about a second and a half on him and kind of distance him. And they don't have to go a full fuel run here. They're going to run about 85% of the laps they've ran right now. But Alan Elwood has to come in this lap. If he runs more, and he does, he's going to run another one. That's going to put him about 4 seconds back from the leader when he comes out.
Well, and there's a reasonable chance that this tank can run 50 laps tonight. And that's why Cameron Hearn came in when he did, is he got the call from his crew chief saying that the pit window's open. So he's came in, got the tires, knows that the fall off is not going to be astronomical. Once everything levels out, and someone like Alan Elwood, once he's hitting the tail end of his run, they will have leveled out.
So now if you want, follow Thomas Bressey. I will keep on board with Alan Elwood. Thomas Bressey was the race leader. And on the bottom right corner, let's switch over to Thomas Bressey and see how they blend whenever Alan leaves the pit road.
Thomas Bressey is out on track right behind Guile Brooks, trying to get himself up into 10th, and he's right on that bumper, getting himself down here. And he is on an absolute tear coming out of turn 4.
So Alan Elwood.
I
still in
don't
the
think
pit
that
road.
there is any way that Alan retains this lead.
No, he's leading pit road right now.
And he is past him. I think that the earlier stop and right now, we actually have Justin Anderson out in the comments making the comment that Blake breaking the race in half. He's officially 2 places in front of Thomas Baresi, and Michael Stroll is the car behind him and looking to try to catch him, but I don't know if Michael Stroll, with only 2 laps fresher of tires, is necessarily going to be able to take that advantage to him.
Brandon Bernhardt stayed out an extra lap there. Brett led a lap, and now he is in pit road. Casey Shue is going to take over the race lead here.
And Casey Shue doing that. Get those bonus points, man. That's the way to do it.
He's going to lead 1 lap, and he's going to come in here at lap 40, coming to lap 47. He should be coming to pit road this time. Leaving Cameron Hearn and going to be from 2nd to 1st. But Eric Wineland and Cameron Hearn are pretty close together.
As I'm just going to the nose of Michael Stroll, who is working to try to get himself around Blake Gordon. He was only about 1/10 of a second faster, but he's running that low line, burning up those tires, and Blake's running the high line, and that is probably the smarter move for Blake right now. He's battling somebody with fresher tires, kind of force him down onto that lower line. Use his stuff up, even though we are now under the lights to where the track is going to be much cooler. It's still going to be quite a bit harder on the tires because these guys are going to be pushing hard.
Yeah, so right now we've got Cameron Hearns in the lead. He has a 10-second gap over Eric Wineland. And then Michael Stroll is closing the gap on Eric Wineland. He's 1.7 seconds back, and the gap is shrinking.
And the one thing for Michael Stroll is he's got a buddy in this process of Blake Gordon, who's now behind him, but not letting the gap shrink all that much. But having that car on your rear bumper is going to help that arrow for both of them, to where if Blake could close the gap down ever so slightly, that's going to make life easier for everyone.
Yeah, right now we're focusing on Michael Stroll. Michael Stroll's about 10.6 seconds back from the race leader Cameron Hearn. But from Michael Stroll to Alan Elwood is 4.5 seconds. So we're going to have to pay attention to see if Alan Elwood, with the 3 to 4 lap fresher tires that he has, will he be able to catch up to Michael Stroll and Thomas Baresi, who was running 1st and 2nd whenever they both came down pit road.
Well, as Michael Stroll gets himself up into 2nd place, because Eric Wineland, 15 lap older tires, there's not going to be any kind of competition.
Cameron Hearn is coming in pit road right now.
Looks like he had a little bit of an issue getting him in there.
Locked her up and got a little sideways, was able to hold it. He did not go around like Chad did. So Michael Stroll is now your race leader. Blake Gordon's in 2nd. Eric Wineland's in 3rd. Thomas Baresi's in 4th. Chad Simpson is 5th. 6th is Alan Elwood. He just passed Danny Ware for 6th. Danny Ware's in 7th. Joe Dinsmore's in 8th. Kyle Brooks is in 9th. And Justin Morton is in 10th.
Well, and it's a calculated gamble right there as Michael Stroll, taking over the lead. And Blake Gordon is not all that far behind him. But Alan Elwood making his way around Chad Simpson and looking to get himself back up towards the front. But I don't think that he's really going to be able to hold on to that too much, as right now Justin Morton trying to get himself down below Gael Brooks. Getting the job done.
Alan Elwood, right now, his lap times is a 42.09, and the top three lap times are Michael Stroll's a 42.57, Blake Gordon's is a 42.86, and Thomas Bressy's a 42.65. So he's between about a 3 to 5 tenths, a little bit faster than these guys in front of him. So we got 24 laps to go, and he's sitting about 2.5 seconds out from the lead. If he keeps up this pace, he should be able to get back up there. But that's if he's able to cleanly pass people and not have to battle them and waste his tires.
So I think I'm just going to hold my camera on our leader for the time being. That way we can dive through the field and give a good view of everything that's going on.
Alan Elwood is right now underneath Thomas Bressie right now, going through 1 and 2, coming down the back straightaway. Thomas Bressie, though, he's got the draft of Blake Gordon here. Alan Elwood's going to side draft him, going down the back straightaway. He's going to drop down to that bottom line, try to hug the white line as much as possible in the center 3 and 4.
And I think that what we're seeing right here with Blake Gordon, Blake had a great strategy call for himself, but the gap he already had to the leaders is starting to rear its head.
Yeah, he's running about 3/10 slower lap times. So he's really kind of struggling right now, so to speak, with what these guys are running around him.
And that's the difference in those tires, to where, especially with Alan Elwood having 5 lap fresher tires, it's going to be a huge difference. And especially considering they're only about 15 laps old at this point. Can't really do math. I'm a little tired today. But with those, they're at the point to where Blake's are falling off faster, haven't quite hit the plateau, but definitely struggling to find the speed that Alan Elwood is, with only having pitted on lap 43.
Yeah, Eric Wineland also went back into pit road. He definitely is going to make this a 2-tire stop, but there's no way Eric Wineland or Cameron Hearn's going to be able to lap the field in 20 laps, basically, and come back around and fight for any position up front, really.
Well, and it's a gamble that you have to take occasionally. You have to go off strategy. You have to try and do anything you can to get an advantage. As Michael Stroll, up in the lead, has found a friend in Chad Mikas, who looked like he was going to give him a bit of a push, but doesn't really seem to be.
Yeah, we're also looking at Danny Ware here with Chad Simpson. These guys are fighting for position side by side. Going on the front straightaway, and you see Blake Gordon right there and Justin Morton in the back. These guys are fighting. They're moved up into the middle line here. They're not dropping all the way down to the bottom here. I wonder if they're trying to save some tires to have a little bit more long run bite later in the race. We're still at 19 laps to go. That's a lot of time here at Auto Club.
And tire wear, as you said, this track chews tires.
And the more times you hit that white line, you choose it even more.
And yet we still see some guys that, despite the fact that they're on some aged good years, still fighting to get themselves down as far as they can. And ultimately, just trying to edge every little bit of speed out that they can.
Yeah, right now we see in your shot down the bottom right-hand corner, we got Michael Stroll and Eric Wineland's trying to get by him. Eric Wineland right now is running 42.22s, whereas Michael Stroll is running 43.17. So it's about a second and a lap faster. We got 17 laps. That's only going to give him a 17-second, advantage trying to come to the end here if they keep that same gap. We're running, as we see these guys right here running side by side, four abreast here.
Well, and the thing is that's the battle for fourth. Or no, that's not the battle for fourth, or is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
We got 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th right there.
And the weird thing is I keep seeing Michael Stroll doing a little bit of a blink job as he's coming around the track, and luckily he's running alone because there's nothing scarier in iRacing than a car that's blinking around you.
Yeah, right now Alan Elwood's put down the fastest lap of the out of the people in the same pitch cycle. He ran a 43 flat basically, whereas Michael Stroll and Thomas Bresci first and third ran a 43.38 and a 43.33. So they're running.
And why does there? I clicked the wrong button and it jumped to Cameron Hearn for a moment. But yeah, Michael Stroll up here at the front is slowly being caught by Alan Elwood and seems to have dropped back. I don't know if it was a bad corner entry, but he should have a sniff of the draft.
Look at this, 3 wide. Danny Ware on the bottom, Blake Gordon in the middle, Chad Simpson up on the top in that number 42, and Justin Morton sitting right there. They're all fighting for this 4th place spot, and with 15 laps to go.
As Blake Gordon getting a great run on the bottom, but may not have the tires to really be able to hold these guys off, even though with Chad Simpson, it's only 1 lap older of tires.
Yeah, Blake Gordon really sitting in the corner. You can see him drifting up the track. He's not really letting off. He was pushing as hard as he could in 3 and 4 right there. As right now, you can see him drifting up the corner right there, which pushes Justin Morton up. Blake's trying to use up all the track he can get to try and stay there, as Danny Ware is slowly pulling away and like, guys, continue fighting. I wanna get away from you guys.
There's nothing wrong with trying to do that, and Blake's unfortunately in the worst position imaginable, being the one that keeps getting pushed down, forced to use up his tires, which are already older, and it just makes it that much more difficult for him.
Yeah, and he's about to be under attack by Randy Bechtel. Randy Bechtel's got two laps fresher tires than him, and he's coming in the picture as Danny Ware's picking up some momentum here. He ran the same lap speed as Thomas Bresci that's in front of him. Thomas Bresci has 2 laps fresher tires than Danny Ware does, so Danny Ware's putting down some good lap times right now.
Adam, do me a favor, let's swap cameras, because right now Michael Stroll is under pressure from Alan Elwood.
So Alan Elwood is finally caught up to him. It's only taken about 30 laps since they last pitted before this happened. And Alan Elwood's got to the back bumper. They're about a 1/10 of a second off right now. That last lap, Alan Elwood was able to capitalize about a 1/10 and a half on him. And getting to the back bumper is one thing. Getting around them is another thing. He's got coming to the line, it'll be 11 laps to get around him.
Well, and I think that those 3-lap fresher of tires are going to make all the difference as we are coming to the last 10 laps, because he's right there on the bumper. And I don't think that the lap car that they're coming up on is really going to give any reprieve to Michael Stroll.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what lines does Michael Stroll use to try and stop the runs for Alan Elwood. Does he drop all the way down to the bottom? Does he come about a lane and a half up?
I think that right now he needs to do what he can to stay in that draft as much as he can, as he's trying to kill any kind of run that Alan Elwood has. But I'm going to be using that lapped car to gain some speed as much as I can, as they're holding that bottom line to get around. And if I was in Michael Stroll's shoes, I would have used that lap car as an opportunity, as he's going to have, Alan Elwood's going to have the run, get the pass done going into 4. And I would have used that lap car to make sure he couldn't get the launch out of the corner like he did, as he's going to try to cross him over.
I would have told the lap car, asked the lap car to go down to the bottom and ran a middle line that would have been a little bit harder, but he would have kept more momentum with those older tires.
As we're going to get to see that extra momentum from Alan Elwood be his best friend, as that safer barrier might have reached out to try to tag him, but it doesn't look like he actually got it.
Flirting with disasters, Michael Stroll gives him a little bit of a side draft as he enters turns 3 right there.
And these guys are going to make it very interesting closing out the day, running side by side, as we're seeing Michael Stroll try to cross him over just ever so slightly. As you get your favorite digger cam right there.
Yep.
And he is, I think at this point, Michael Stroll is going to succumb to those slightly older tires. And I think that this is going to turn into Alan Elwood's race, because it's going to be difficult for him to pass and get the kind of runs like Alan did, not being able to hold as much speed. Because on this lap, he was ever so slightly slower despite having that draft as an advantage.
I mean, that's the only thing he could really do is back off his corners, try to get down to the bottom, and get a great launch and use that momentum and that draft down the back straightaway. Got to cool that front right tire. He burned it up, battling with him. He has quite a bit. He's got 3-lap newer tires. So you're going to have to play some tire games right now to kind of cool that front right tire and try to chase him down here with about 3 laps to go as they hit, as they come across the line here, will be 6 laps to go. So try to back it off for 3 laps and then attack him for 3 laps.
And these are all the kinds of things that are running through his brain, but he also needs to make sure he's within that draft so he has that opportunity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you drop a little too far back and you're in trouble. And at the end of the day, there's a chance that his tires may not be able to support keeping that gap.
Yeah, I think, sacrificing a little bit of your corner entry to save that front right tire can be beneficial in the long run of trying to get a great launch and the momentum of the draft down these long front and back straightaways.
And honestly, there's the opportunities to be doing that, but I hope for Michael Stroll's sake that there is the opportunity, but I've also raced Auto Club enough to know that little bit of a tire difference at this point is not necessarily going to be his best friend.
No. he's sitting in a bad position. I mean, it's 3 laps, but I mean that's 3 hard laps that both of them ran, and you know that scrubbed away most of the speed, and so he has a lot hotter. There you go, warmer, hotter tires than Alan Elwood does, and especially trying to battle as hard as he did to stay in front of him during the crossovers.
And I think that is going to be the story as we wrap this up and slowly make our way into the last 3 laps. I just don't think he's going to have the equipment.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be coming across the line with 3 to go. There's quite a few battles back there. Joe Dinsmore looks like he's in a good battle, and John Gravon's in a good battle right now. We'll hop back and see what's going on with them on your camera.
I was going to say, let's just go ahead and switch. I'll go back to our leaders. You jump through.
So we got John and Boomer Logan here. They are battling tough right now, trying to really use it right now. John has older tires. It looks like Boomer Logan should have the advantage here. But that's if Boomer took care of his tires. But John looks like he's got a really great launch off the corner. He's going to get down below him. And he does in 3. Can he complete the job here? Does he slide up?
No, I think he just has saved just enough, and as they hit the front stretch, he's going to be able to get much lower, cutting off a little bit of that distance to negate that extra speed coming out of the corner.
Yeah, these guys are battling hard side by side with 2 laps to go. John.
As right now our leader Alan Elwood has opened up 0.6 of a second to where Michael Stroll, as we have hit the white flag lap. Again, I think he just... Well, the white flag's out, so any incidents now aren't going to count, as Alan Elwood has reached some lap traffic hitting the backstretch coming out of 2, but right now it should just be smooth sailing to the end of the race. Gets down below the lap traffic through 3 and 4, and he's going to be able to go ahead and take the win. Had the right strategy all night tonight and gets himself a win, and he was one of the favorites going into the night. Does a great job front to back, keeping himself in contention.
Yeah, he did a really great job tonight, managing his tires on that long run there, staying out there the longest out of everybody, and was able to battle back. I think he was one of the last cars that were battling up front to go in and get tires, and yeah, great tire savings by him. Has everybody crossed the line? No, we still got a few people. There we go.
Nope, there it is.
So let's go ahead and pull up the race results. Alrighty, our pole sitter and race winner tonight is going to be Alan Elwood. Second place is Michael Stroll. Third is Thomas Bressie. Fourth is Danny Ware. Fifth is Justin Morton. Sixth is Chad Simpson. Seventh is Blake Gordon. Eighth is Joe Dinsmore. Ninth is Randy Bechtel. And 10th is Tyler Hensley.
11th is Travis McQuistion. 12th is Kyle Brooks. 13th, John Griven. 14th, Boomer Logan. 15th is Casey Shue, 16th Cameron Hearn, 17th Brandon Bernhardt, 18th Chris Matthews, 19th Hayden Pastoris, and 20th is Eric Wineland.
21st is Don Runkle Jr., 22nd is Calvin Filarski, 23rd is Sean Carmody, 24th is Zach Edwards, 25th is Chad McKiss, 26th is Kyle Cooper, and 27th is Tyler Dougler.
All right, it's time to go ahead and bring up our winner of Alan Elwood. Hey, Alan, it was, we'll call it a dominant race tonight. What's going through your head at this point?
I don't know. Kind of anticipated how the race was going to go once we figured out where exactly the cutoff point was for fuel. And Cameron tried something different, to his credit, and I was really curious how it was going to work out, him two-stopping it. There wasn't enough laps for that strategy to really play out, it seemed like. If we'd have gone maybe another 20 laps, I really think that he might have had the right idea, for sure. Which other people might have done that the same way. But no, just overall, I mean, thrilled to get the win. Talking to you guys earlier this week, or into last week, I came in with the expectation that I have a love-hate relationship with this track. It either goes really good or really bad, and I'm ecstatic that it went super well tonight.
Well, and we didn't really have many opportunities for things to go bad. Running green the entire night. I have to commend everyone. It was a good, clean run and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's a benefit with this track. And I think, whether you like it or dislike the track, it's a good choice for playoff scenarios because it does allow for that type of stuff to happen more often than not. You really don't see too many caution-filled races here. So I think that really lets things play out naturally. The good guys will eventually probably pull away, but you might have a couple guys sprinkled in there that you might not expect that at the same time, with fuel strategy might be able to pull something off. So this track is really big on that. And, having hell of a battle with Bressie and Stroll early on and then Stroll there at the end with the tires, that was really fun trying to track those guys down and, get around them with enough laps left.
So what was your strategy going in? When did you foresee yourself trying to pit? Because you stayed out basically the longest out of the top 6 or so that, were up there battling there throughout the first run. You were the one that stayed out there the longest. Why did you pick to come in at that time?
Well, you have to really think about the amount of laps you have and how much fall off there is. If you judge how much fall off there is in the first run, then that gives you an idea of how many laps to pit with and give yourself time to try to make up. And those guys kind of gave me an idea like, okay, they're starting to pit now. I've still got 25 laps left, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe a little more, that I can make that time up. And you have to make sure that you don't get caught up by lap traffic. You have to make sure you get on pit road right, get in your box, get out, do all that stuff perfect in order for yourself to have that chance at the end to use those laps to catch up. And I think it, everything went as well as it could trying to catch those guys. And then, it's catching them's one thing, passing them's another. And I knew it was going to be difficult getting around, especially Stroll there at the end. But, the fresh tires, just even one lap really makes a big difference.
Well, and that's actually what we saw is you had 3 lap fresher tires than Stroll, and as we came to the checkered, even then, he was struggling with the draft to keep up.
Yeah, and it looked like following behind him, he was getting tight coming out of the corner, which is really easy to do. So you have to kind of adjust your driving line, your brake bias, stuff like that to try to help your car turn because it just it's a dump truck getting off the corner after about 10 laps. So if you play your cards right, you don't really wear out that right front as much. You have to really try to balance the right front and right rear to get those to wear at the same rate. Otherwise, if your right front goes or your right rear goes before one or the other, it's going to be a nightmare to drive at the end of a run. So I saw him getting tight and I was like, okay, if I get around his outside, because it's going to be tough to get him on the inside, even with fresher tires. If I get him on the outside and you just pinch him off enough where he can't get that run off, you're sitting pretty. So that was my strategy going with it, and then it worked out.
So were you trying to save some tires as you drove through the field, or was it basically an all-out blitz to try and catch the front, knowing you had 3-lap newer tires than everybody else?
It was kind of in between. I was trying to watch my pace because you don't want to burn them off too quickly and then everything even out. That just completely ruins your strategy. So there's no point in pitting later if you're going to end up killing your tires. So you have to kind of watch them to a degree, but at the same time, you do have to try to catch up first. So I was trying to push to get to his rear bumper and then just hope that I had enough tires left at the end. Also trying to kind of pay attention to what Cameron was doing because again, I wasn't really sure how that strategy was going to play out. So you didn't know if he was going to come out of nowhere and catch everybody. So I was trying to pay attention to that. But once we got clear of Bressie, I knew that I just had to focus on trying to pass Stroll and make sure I just had enough tire that I could get around him.
Yeah, with Cameron Hearn's strategy, you'd have to basically play that out to where you're almost at a fuel strategy with a one-stop race with the amount of laps to make a two-stop track work, because you need them to kind of have to slow down to save a lap or so, kind of be in that position where it's like sketchy almost ish throughout the whole entire run to make a two-stop work. Whereas you were able to pit at lap 43, we had some people pit at lap 45, 46. So, with that amount of flexibility with the halfway point, he had, like you said, he needed at least another 20 laps or so on this race to kind of make that one work.
Yeah. It was worth trying. I think he wore his tires out and he tried to do something different just to go off everybody else's strategy. And like you said, it didn't quite have enough laps to pan out, but kudos again for him for trying. Shout out to Danny for getting top 5 tonight. Awesome job by him. Randy's in the top 10. And Eric also was on that strategy too, so it didn't really play out for him as well either. But great job tonight by everybody on the team. Super proud of everybody, and ready to go to another big track at Atlanta. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but Atlanta is just that ever so slightly different beast to where we're talking 1.5 miles, a lot more lifting that has to go on, but probably about the same amount of tire wear.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's got to be a little more off throttle on those longer runs, but it's a cheese grater, that's for sure. It's just like this track, and if you realize what you did wrong tonight, maybe you can correct that and get it right next week.
I gotcha. Well, hey, congratulations for winning the pole, leading probably, I believe, the most laps tonight. We have to go back and look, and also coming home with the victory, man. You did it all.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
All right. Let's bring up our number 2, Mr. Michael Stroll.
Hard racing. I think he just was yelling in the middle.
We pulled you up mid-conversation, apparently.
Yeah. What's up, going? What's up, guys?
How is it going tonight, man? Tough break there. Couldn't pull off the victory, but you were able to kind of coast there in second. The tire wear was just killing you there at the end, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I tried the undercut because it was once the tires wore out, it was really hard to pass. And I thought once everything cycled out that I had like a maybe 2.5, 3 second lead. I'm like, that's a pretty good cushion. See what happens here. But then Alan ran that first run. He ran the tank out, and he had a little bit tire advantage. And I knew he'd get to me. Yeah, I just tried my best to hold him off, and just still trying to win one of these premier races, but not tonight.
No, it was still a very strong run. The strategy seemed to work, well, to an extent, but still starting where you did, ultimately making your way up into second. Are you taking it as a moral victory, just getting the best points you can and hope for a stronger race next week in Atlanta?
Yeah, my strong suit is the intermediates. Like I ran third at Kansas, I ran third at Michigan. So I feel like if I'm gonna get one of these, it's gonna come at the intermediates. So these next, tonight and next week Atlanta, and then the finale at Nashville, I think is my best shot. So I'm a little disappointed, really disappointed that I didn't win. Obviously, everybody wants to win, but I'm interested in seeing how the points shake out. I came from eighth and just try to really take care of my tires and let everybody else, beat theirs up a little bit and tried the undercut in the pits and you know, Cinderella just isn't on my side. I guess I gotta find out what shoe fits on my foot.
Did you know exactly how, did you have a feeling of exactly how much of an undercut you were going to do, or did you expect Alan Elwood to kind of staying out there to, let's see, we had some people pit a lot further around lap 45, lap 46, or do because he only went 3 extra laps than you. I mean, that's a lot on tires, so to speak, of you gaining ground, but then at the end, that's a lot of ground he could come back.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought once I pit because I was the first of me and myself and Thomas and Alan to pit. I thought that they'd pit sooner, and Bressie kind of came with me the lap after, but Alan really strung his out, and that's a risk you take because you don't want caution to come out, whatever. But I've seen him do that before, and sometimes when you can't beat somebody on pace, you got to try a strategy move. So I just ducked in after I got my halfway points, and I've tried the overcut before too. That never worked for me. So I kind of thrown shit at the wall here and hope something sticks, and it just didn't tonight. So P2 again.
Yeah, but those P2s add up to a great finish when everybody else is fighting at the front, because I take those every day.
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta keep putting myself in position and leading laps and being up front and continue to learn with this B car. It can be pretty tough, on handling and stuff like that. So we'll go to Atlanta next week. Try the same stuff. I'm sure the cream will rise to the top with Alan, Bressie, Cameron, and Justin. We're all kind of right on top of each other lately, and then see what happens there.
No, sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do next week at Atlanta, to where tire wear is going to be king once again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the real unknown is Nashville. I don't think a lot of guys have many laps there. Luckily for me, I have a whole race under my belt in this car at that track and ran pretty good when I did that. So I'm stoked for these next 2 races, and I'm glad I'm not out of the championship fight by any means. So we'll just see what happens.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Yeah, you two guys, take care.
All right, and a quick chat with our number 3 finisher, Thomas Bressie. Hopefully we didn't interrupt a conversation like we did with Stroll.
No, you guys are good. What's up?
Oh, 3rd place finish. Watching you through the earlier section of the race, we had a lot of hope for you to be able to work your way back through the field after the pit stops, but tell us what was going through your head on when you actually made that pit stop.
Yeah, I knew there was a good bit of fall off, and I saw I saw Stroll pit, and I figured Alan maybe was going to go like the next lap or something like that, or 2 lap. I think I went the lap after Stroll. I don't really remember, honestly. I think it was just 1, but I thought he was going to go in, so I was like, well, if I can at least stick with Alan, that'll be fine. And then Alan went further, and he was just he was stupid fast when he got new tires on that car. And we were just talking. He was saying he kind of was paying attention to what Stroll and I were doing a little bit the first run. So, I think he said that kind of helped him a little bit. And that's just how racing goes. You kind of see what everyone else is doing and adjust as you go. But yeah, I had a lot of trouble with lap traffic again. Had somebody racing for 90th or whatever that was like dive bombing me and about spun me out because they just pulled right down on my door after when I was trying to go back through on like sticker tires, and then ended up rushing the wall out of 4. So none of that helped. So I didn't have enough there anyways. But even still, like, just I don't know. It would have been tricky. I think maybe even a catch up to Stroll, just because he and I thought we were pretty close. At least towards the back of the first run. I think he started a little further back, and he made up a decent number of spots, I thought. So I thought maybe it would happen, but I just didn't even think that. I think the bigger thing obviously was just that Allen was way faster there at the end than I thought he was going to be. So that kind of just put a nail in that coffin regardless. But decent run. Not too upset. Kind of was saying last week or whatever, it's better than the last time we were here when I don't even think I finished in the top 10 because I just destroyed my tires. So made a few mental notes from last time and did a little bit better this time around.
I got you,
mean,
man.
Third place isn't anything really to scoff at.
No.
Especially after last week having another strong finish. I think that consistency is going to be the key to getting all of this done throughout.
Yeah, I think we were kind of talking about this a little bit last week too. Yes, the consistency is good, but I think at this point, like especially when you kind of see, who the people are that are in the fight, you got to be winning races. Cameron, I think he's gonna have to have, I think, 2 really big weeks to kind of get back in because the 2-stop did not pan out at all for him. And I think I probably lost a couple to Allen because just with him, he pit me for most laps led by 1, so that sucked. But I think you get 3 more anyways for first, and obviously I was third anyways, but got a couple more halfway points than he did, so that's okay. But then I think probably gained a little bit on Justin, so it should be pretty tight in the top 3, I feel like. But I mean, it's kind of what I figured it was going to be. You're going to have to be you got to be up front, top 3, and win the race kind of thing. So I'm trying to kind of change up my own game a little bit, and in some ways, I don't know, because like I don't, even when I say, I'm going to go big picture and just try to focus on winning the race, I still don't win the race because I just generally always don't have the pace right at the end or something. But it's trying to. I'm thinking a lot more about the points than I normally do, as opposed to just keeping the car in one piece and trying to get a good finish out of it. So, and I think that's helped a little bit, especially these last couple of weeks, because it's proven to be pretty tight. So, we'll go to Atlanta, and last time we were there, I had a really good car, so, and should have won that race, and had some hardware issues that took me out. So, certainly hoping that maybe we can try and seal the deal next week. That's kind of the recurring theme, is just saying, let's see if we can do it next week. But one of these times, maybe it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, next week's going to be another week of tire shredding asphalt there, and it's going to have to be worry about tire savings once again, but it's going to be a little bit less of a on throttle during the corner, so you're going to be able to be a driver's car in the middle of the corner, and the best person who can manipulate the throttle and the brakes the most there at Atlanta is going to be the king at the end of the race. So, just get some practice laps. I know where the fall off's going to be at, and good luck, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Atlanta's a fun track. Shame they're changing it for next year, and we'll turn it into a super speedway thing, whatever monstrosity it's going to be. But at least we still have old Atlanta on here for a little while longer.
Mediocre speedway.
That's it. All
yeah,
right.
That's the big thing with me, is I love Atlanta right now because it's quirky.
Yep.
Once they have brand new tarmac on there, the new banking, it's gonna have a different kind of personality, but it's just gonna be a blah personality.
Who doesn't like going left to right, over the bumps on the back straightaway? You think you're going straight, but who knows? You might go left. Who knows? You might go right down the back straightaway.
Yep. It's just it's a game of mystery. Just see which way we slide off into turn 3 this time.
I got you, man. Well, hey, good luck to you next week, and we wish you luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. Hey, well, that's going to do it for us tonight here at Ghostfire Media. Come out tomorrow night. We are going to be broadcasting live from Phoenix. We will be at the championship race of the IVRL series. We have 4 contenders shooting for the grand title to be the IVRL Butt Kicker Series champion tomorrow night. You'll have the voices of Nick Adams and Justin Anderson, and who knows, Randy Pepper might make a surprise visit here. He's going to be at the actual live in-person Phoenix Raceway, so maybe we'll get to talk to him tomorrow night as we conclude that season-long battle.
It's going to be a fun one, and Mr. Adam Wood is one of the 4 drivers battling for that championship tomorrow night.
Yeah, come out and see if your local Ghostfire Media broadcast host here can get the title. I feel like I'm going to be the underdog out of the 4 guys that are there, but I'm going to give it my shot. Anything can happen. We saw it last week. That's how I was able to get it into the Final 4. No matter what, we have a great field of guys that are going to try to put on a heck of a show tomorrow night. There's going to be four guys rooting for going for a championship, but there's going to be about 10, 15 guys out there shooting for a race win as well. So anything could happen whenever you have multiple people out there not in the championship hunt looking for a win. So come out
to be a blast.
And Wednesday night from Ghostfire Media will be at AOL Sportsman Series at North Wilkesboro. It's the first round of the final playoffs. AOL is doing something different. They're doing a 3-race shootout instead of a 1-race one. So AOL will be on their first race at North Wilkesboro Thursday night. Where is the TNT Series going to be at this Thursday?
Oh, God, I don't even remember. We are at Phoenix as well.
Yes,
however,
that's right.
It's going to be the older version that does not have the open dog leg.
It's going to be the
which, I mean, in theory, the new laser scan version that everybody's running, that you're running tomorrow, doesn't really have it either.
And I used a dog leg here and there, but yeah. So we got 2 Phoenix races, and then maybe a third this Sunday as well. I believe the Cup Series is going to be at Phoenix Speedway. So come out this week and catch the podcast Friday night. It's going to be a fantastic week. We're going to try and get on all the AOL Cup Series playoff drivers on Friday night to conclude our podcast to see who's going to call their shot and how much trash talking can we get between the 4 of them.
I mean, we're going to have Blake and Justin, so plenty.
And we got Blake and Justin, and then we'll have kind of the more mellow tone of Josh Hanner and the more neutral tone of Steve Gottschalk there. So it's going to be a great time. So come out this Friday and listen to the podcast. We'll have the championship winner of the IVRL, whoever that's going to be. We'll bring them on board as well. So yeah, but that's going to be it for us tonight. I am Adam Wood. That is Josh Laston. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.